Amitabha Buddha salutes the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the people woke up this morning. The first idea is, do people remember the Buddha? People remember the Buddha, but do people have the heart to pray for the dead? Dear people, we are asking for permission to recite the Buddha so that before we share our fate with the masses. Adi-do Buddha, Adi-do Buddha. Adi-do Buddha. I ask Amitabha Buddha to send me to the West. Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. Dear people, today the reception will continue. Quote, the teachings of the masters of the Pure Land Dharma today receive great quotes in. The old man of the great master reached the bar. The master's bar. The masses are. It's a long process, but it's also very interesting. It's very easy to understand, and it's very close. Receive it or share it with you. There's one more time to confirm that. What the greats say, what universities learn with you. It's not empty talk. And the feeling of the big ones, it's not the kind of self-talk. So don't worry about this place. Master reached the teaching bar. Whether the Buddha's thoughts are true or not, just from a place of joy and sorrow tested. The natural distinction is clear. I mean, people with true minds think of Buddha, whether in good times or in bad times, uninterrupted thoughts. So the affliction can't move them. The fun can't shake them. If sorrow and joy cannot be shaken. In natural birth and death without fear. Today people recite the Buddha when they are a little excited. I forgot the Buddha's name. There's no magic in that. If reciting Buddha in my way is really the true place of love and hate, does not fade this Amitabha Buddha sentence, now in daily life, cannot be used. Lam Jung is not born. My tongue will be broken. It's a sentence, a paragraph, of our special master who teaches the recitation of the Buddha. But the modern world often refers to a place where, happy or sad, as the modern saying goes, the Buddha will be tested. The nature of your mind, to test your beliefs, where it's good or bad. There are only two things in life. One is happy and the other is adversity. It's simple to understand that if in that situation, for the pure practitioners of, to our reciters of the Buddha, as Master Kuang said, what is it all? Forest, mountain, river, tree. The external circumstances around us, it's all a show of purity. Let's see. It's all pure show. We see. They say it's at Sao. We say they're all trees. Then rivers and streams of land. Then the people. Things around in front of us. It's all pure show. With the angle of the human gaze. If you look at me, you are miserable. It's all pure show. This place is easy to understand once adversity comes our way. Difficult obstacles for us. We say that. At Sao, we have to go back to the ecstatic Western world. Because the Western world is the world of pure joy without suffering. It's a good environment. There's no such thing as adversity. Obstacles on the path for us. Because of the Buddha, at Sao building, established the ecstasy of the Western world. They want a good environment that creates good conditions. There are no obstacles for religious people. For those who build bodhicitta, what to do quickly? Buddha to the end of sentient beings, what? Why do we have to give birth to Western ecstasy? Because the environment there is so amazing. It's so nice. Because when adversity strikes us, there are few things that bother us. We keep saying in our mind, what is here is where. In my grandmother, what you are is suffering, is suffering, is suffering. That's what we are. It hurts too, and so does suffering. Recite one more Buddha sign. Let's build one more. The blessing of your employees. To correspond to the deed or patronage. How to? Buddha's thought is to build a good foundation. Employee blessing for ourselves. In this world you say, true or no more than true. Know how to build trust or not. Know how to build trust. You just need a place to celebrate, or the test is known immediately. But he said right where the adversity or the advantage. It's that we know how we do it. Every time the good times come, I see that it's hard to see. Next scene. Everything is fun. Everything is happy. Everything is worried. Everything is self-sufficient. Of course, it makes us greedy. Be wrecked infected. As well as adversity. On the contrary, it's easier to see your mind. Once it's too hard. It's so annoying. Not satisfied. I suddenly think of the West. Why is the Buddha so compassionate? The environment above, environment on which it's well equipped. Environment up there, it's said to be completely complete. We're not going there now. It's like we're giving Amitabha a helping hand. You are looking forward. You are waiting and setting everything up. Just go up there and do something. Up there to learn to train to become a Buddha. So, here he says the true reciter is Sao. Absolutely trust. The Buddha's teaching is what we really are suffering. There's nothing for us to hold on to. There's nothing for us to complain about until one day it will also be destroyed. There is only the Western world. It's the real world. It's the perfect scene there. It is the most complete dependence. Best for our spiritual practitioners. It's simply, we're going to change a messy environment. Chaos of all things in the world. It is very difficult to move people in the West. Lost to find out. It's a better environment. It's more convenient, more comfortable to train your mind better. Just as if many people in the community could, or some other ashram. How much of that is heard? The voice that people hear. So my ashram here has rules and regulations. Then practice peacefully. Surely people want to be here. People are like asking me. It's already on me. No matter what environment is good. What is good in the temple? But once, it's already her. It is inevitable in this world. The adversity, it's inevitable. These are called obstacles. Just go to the West ecstasy world. It's all good for us. So, through this stage, what is mindfulness? Real or not real? The true heart. I totally believe she is suffering. Ecstatic trust is fun and full trust. Where we really can't afford this, insufficient capacity. There is not enough power to. It's called struggling to escape the sea of life and death. Only rely on the reception of the salvation of the Maitreya Buddha only. So, even though the situation is favorable or adversity, this is the charm. If adversity comes, we also think that it's for us to see that she's suffering. Ecstasy is fun. Let's get the mind out of the world of ecstasy. It's good to come. No matter how good the situation is, that this woman follows the law of extraterritorial achievement, and one day it won't exist. The West's only ecstasy is infinite. Infinite life, infinite wisdom. Innumerable fullness up there. It doesn't have a stick. The blissful West is the world of total truth. It is enough for us to rely on. Rely on. In this world we see, This life is so impermanent. This body is too fragile. Even if we are capable, have enough spiritual energy, but time is uncertain, allowing us. Why the ecstatic Western world is, the Buddha is called, is the infinite amount of life on which we have enough time to practice. You can spend as much time as possible because there's an infinite amount of time. There is no time limit in this world. Even if I have good ability, but time is too limited. Not enough time to. Let us train our minds. Train your mind. So through today's passage, you want to say that. Who recites the Buddha honestly or unsincerely? What is it simply? In happy or sad scenes, in adversity or adversity, but still keep this Buddha sign. Keep this wish and take that as a motto, as a goal. It's an orientation for us to focus on purity. Many people who practice the Buddha as thoughts say that. Why is it so bad? Why is it so delusional? Let's not say to words at Sao. In the world it is. Some people say they're too happy. It's so nice about the ecstasy. That's good fun. One day it won't exist. Because the world is according to the rules of the pillars, it will not exist. Only the ecstasy of the Western world is fullness for ourselves. By that, people who are mindful of the Buddha clearly understand this problem very well. Then let Sao loose the Buddha sign. Why? Because once impermanent it comes to us. Once impermanence comes to us, it doesn't tell us, not waiting for us. It doesn't say that day will come, that it's sudden for us. So, whether it's good or bad, no matter how difficult or convenient your life, I have to take care of myself. My own death has to be dealt with. For all the other methods, just different. You have to paddle yourself, try to cross the sea of life and death by yourself. And this pure method alone. Just accept salvation. German abstinence from the Maitreya sub. One side. Have a vow to be able to lead sentient beings. One side wants to be led. These two sides are connected. Feeling together is sure. In this life, we will escape from the sea of suffering. Suffering is entirely dependent on prayer. Amitabha Buddha's Guide to Buddhism. Here we note because of that. Here you say, people with a true heart recite the Buddha, whether it's happy or sad, uninterrupted thoughts. Why is it called when it's fun or when it's sad? Uninterrupted thoughts. Happy or sad. In this world, as the modern world says, it's not true. We are fooled by it. Not be fooled by it until one day it goes bad. All my life run by the form. The name outside the outside benefit. He said that affliction cannot be moved. The fun can't be shaken. If the happy affliction cannot be moved, in the natural state of birth and death will not be afraid. In everyday life, we get into the habit of, as they say, in this mouth we recite the Buddha. This body we worship Buddha. We remember this Buddha. My whole life, we take this body and we take this spirit and we call it. Give it to Buddha Amitabha. Take this body, take this life, take this spirit and give it to Amitabha Buddha. Every time adversity comes, Buddha is challenging me. Every time you go to the Buddha, give yourself a chance. The Buddha gave me a chance. Adversity to come, Buddha is challenging himself to practice. Practice for yourself? What do you mean? Whether adversity or adversity, I also think that Amitabha Buddha is the one who gives me. Amitabha Buddha is the one who creates conditions for himself. Let me train that spiritual nature. Instead of we say it's disturbing, so delusional, or why my career is so deep, Every time I think once more, karma is the karma of growth. Instead of us thinking of ourselves as Amitabha Buddha creates opportunities for himself. Buddha builds faith for himself. We think that's more comfortable. It will be softer. It will be more self-contained. I think it's one more time to remember Buddha. Remember the Buddha once more. So, here he says, today people recite the Buddha, just a little angry. Then naturally forget the Buddha's sign. Make Sao have touch flexibility. It's like we see the Buddha understand. It's like a game. If you like the joke, remember. If you don't like it, happy is sad. What's wrong with the head? Buddha, suffering, reciting Buddha. It's fun to leave Buddha aside. Suffering is reciting the Buddha. It's fun to leave Buddha aside. It's like Buddha. It's like a wolf. It's called a teddy bear. If you like them, hug them. If you don't like it, throw it aside. The true mind recites the Buddha. It's never like that. The true mind recites the Buddha. It's like hugging a sow. It means we are playing. We suffer in this sea of life and death. If for a moment we let go, we're leaving this buoy, then surely we're drowned and drifting in the sea of life and death. I don't know when to get up. So, we've got this Buddha sign. We hold this prayer of dying. It's like a pure string. It's a savior. It's a float. What is it that plays in the sea of life and death? A ray of hope to live. A ray of hope to live. That's something that is the guiding vow of the Maitreya. If in this life we have a human body to meet the Dharma, to meet the Pure Land and leave this opportunity, in the Bible, it says 1,000 lives. It's hard to see again. It's hard to see again. We have to look at this place carefully. You have to look carefully. He said that if we use our minds to be like that in the happy scene, also remember the Buddha. In sad scenes, also remember the Buddha. How can you do that? Just know that impermanence doesn't forgive an AI. Just fear that once the enemy wants this life. It's called Lam Jung, near-death karma, that we can't remember Buddha. We can't recite the Buddha. It depends on the karma. Here you say, if you have truly prayed for life, I really want to leave the world, the sad things of this world. It's a natural thing to do. If we don't hold fast to the Buddha sign, I do not hold this heart of hope. This life once passed. When it will be back, I'm not sure. I don't know for sure, because hearing about this phase, he said if you recite the Buddha in my way, Buddha in a place of love and hate does not fade the Buddha's name. Now in daily life, cannot be used. Lam Jung is not born. My tongue will be ruined. What you mean is, if we can use this Buddha sign, happy to recite the Buddha, but sad also recite Buddha. Adversity also recites Buddha. You know that, use your mind like that. In the present life, nature will be comfortable. You know hips. The name Buddha is the fruit of the Buddha Maitreya. Recite a Buddha sign to the truth. Recitation of the Buddha sign is to foster the virtue of virtue, blessing for ourselves. A Buddha sign to recite to Kwang Min Deed or a Buddha sign. Recall to 25 bodhisattvas who regularly bless their protection. A Buddha sign. Recall to the 10 Buddhas. Flaming bronze applause. Support a Buddha sign. So people recite the Buddha. It is not waiting for the birth to be peaceful. That right now there's always blessing protection. There is always peace in our minds. Invisible general. The Buddha does not or does not know. It's just about trust. Just like in the old days, this phone has a cell phone, and the touch-enabled phones have Wi-Fi. Do we see the hips? Do we see the hips? There's a hip. There's a hip. That too. The name of the Buddha, once the merit is raised, invisible general, marinated in our bodies and minds without knowing it. I didn't see it, but I did. Really, this is the feeling. Only those who practice Buddhism know. Here you say, currently in action. If you can do that, the use is endless. And at the end of the day, it's sure to be born. You said if you're not happy, not be born, to do something called adversity happy sad. Hold fast to the Buddha sign. Just recite the Buddha's name without being free, without being born. I swear that my tongue will rot. You see their compassion. They teach us to speak for us. But you are afraid of the ordinary. He suspects he doesn't even believe it, and he slanders it. I take an oath if I say wrong. My tongue is broken, to be decayed, to be ruined. You see the compassion of the previous levels. He can't think of the table. As the Master Kwong said, I want to tell you that I braked him. I bled out to tell you to believe. Believe that this one Buddha sign sentence is to arise. This one wish to arise. The truth of the Buddha's mind. Surely this life is born. Faith must be patient. Persistence and strong determination. Believe in the words of the Lord. You have already proved it. Not the words. You don't draw empty words, people. So through your process, great with your vow. If not, my tongue will be broken. Here we hear, we see your compassion. You say it's no use to you, but you swear it. To give us, build trust for yourself. So through the process of today, stop receiving. Read again to end today's sharing. It's almost 25 minutes. Here too much. You're not going to summarize the learning problem. Master teaches people to recite the Buddha, whether the Buddha's thoughts are true or not. Just a place of joy or sorrow to test. Nature is clearly distinguished. Someone with a sincere mind who thinks of the Buddha. No matter how happy or disturbing the thought will not be interrupted. So the affliction can't move them. The fun can't shake them. If sorrow and joy cannot be shaken, in the natural world, it will not be. To move without fear. Today people reciting Buddha at Sao are not successful. I was a little angry. Forget the Buddha sign, forget the Buddha sign. Leave the Buddha sign behind. That's how SAO has the power. If you recite the Buddha in my way, it is true that in a place of love and hate, there is no blur in the Buddha's name. Happy and sad when hurt. Being loved when hated. I have not forgotten the Buddha's name. It is not used in daily life. Lam Jung is not born. I swear my tongue will be ruined. I hope you hear this part, to feel the compassion. You are to preach and swear for us. I hope people feel this. Make an effort to ask. Through this phase, asking that we are honest. The Buddha for birth and death. Not really reciting the Buddha because of birth and death. If you don't like it, you don't. If you are happy, leave the Buddha aside. See Buddha as a joke, as a game. Remember to deal with death. The recitation of our Buddha. We're facing birth and death in the future. It's not that we make a day for a meal. Not. We've made an outer surface for people to see. Let people look. What is it? It's really about training this inner truth. Training in this mind. Become a habit of reciting Buddha. Habit of remembering Buddha. Recite the Buddha so that the time of death will come, even though the yoke is difficult to block. But this recitation of the Buddha's name, a Buddha signed this prayer. If you take the lead, follow that karma. That is born. We want to get to know the Buddha. I can remember being born. Then right in the present, we have to practice. We have to train, not wait. Then the water comes to the feet and jumps. There's no time, folks. There's no time. Let the people try. The people try to resolve that this world is born. Gentlemen, I wish you the best of luck. This life soon returned to the Western world. Adido Buddha, the Buddha,